Today I'm going to talk about Permaledger and how it marries really well with what we're going to do in January, which is 2021, which is officially launched Incredible Edible Eugene. But today I just want to talk about Permaledger, which is part of it. It's basically, if you just take the word ledger, I created that name because of permaculture and ledgers, basically. What Permaledger is a ledger of anything to do with anything we've done with planting, seeds, food, fermenting, all these different things get recorded in here. So what we're looking at here is the actual dashboard when you log in. And this is Eugene Permaledger, and what we see here is a projection of future plantings. So every time we log into Permaledger, we see this. So obviously when it hits, as we can see here, when it hits January 19th, 2021, we should be seeding endive, and so on and so forth. So this program now has 2,650 seedings in it for 2021. So everything that we are planning to seed is in this. It's in Permaledger, and we'll when we get to the dashboard like we are here, we'll see this listed out in ascending date order. So let me show you something which is the key part of Permaledger, which is what's called plantings. I've gone to areas, but I'll go back to that because that's interesting in its own right. So now we're going to plantings. I'm going to search for a particular tomato that we've planted for the Roughwood seed collection, not last year but the year before, and it's called Roughwood Golden Plum tomato. Permaledger, by the way, runs on FarmOS, which is an open source. So that's FARMOS, and I'm saying that because it's an open source program, and it's an amazing program. We changed it a little bit, and I'll take you back to areas later to show you what we did that's different to what FarmOS does. So here we're going in to look at this particular listing, which is Roughwood Golden Plum tomato. You can tell I say tomato, and you've heard that song, I'm sure. So when we're looking at this screen here, what we can see first of all is that we've got all these different. So yeah, one other thing I should say: every seed in Permaledger has a QR code. That's something that we did. That's not native in FarmOS. And the reason for that is when we give seed out, if somebody keeps the packet, hopefully, and scans the QR code, it will bring them to this very screen here. And if you're an administrator, and I am, you can do all these different things in it. Add a seeding, add a transplanting, add an observation, add an activity, add an input, add a harvest, add a sale, add a purchase. So all these things are driven from the actual plant itself. So let's scroll down a little bit. Here you can see basically what's planned for this particular seed for next year. So we've got several plantings planned, and the reason for that is these are the seasons, the dates when it's suitable to and this is what we did, when it's suitable to plant these things. We'll actually start, as we see when we scroll down here, these are all seedings still. We'll actually start in February in a greenhouse with a heated bed, which is what we did this year. So anyway, and this is going, you can see we're now going back in time. This is 2020, this is 2019, and so on and so forth. So this is all the seedings. The other thing that gets recorded here is any transplantings. And there is actually a phone app, like a remote version of FarmOS. And what you can do with that is you can record things, take a photograph of a plant, and it stays on the device until you reconnect to FarmOS when it's automatically uploaded into FarmOS, the main program, which is what we're looking at. So it's pretty handy to have that mobile type app. So again, we're looking back through all the transplantings that happened for this. We're still on that tomato, the Roughwood Golden Plum. So all the transplantings that happened are recorded here. The handy bit about that is we can then analyse. We germinated. We put these seeds in soil blocks, which is something we use here, at that date, and we transplanted them at this date. So that starts to give an idea and a pattern of what we should be doing when. the next part of this, and again we're still on this golden plum, is activities that happened, and that could be harvesting, it could be anything that relates to the plant, that's not one of the other listings. Observations, typically, as you can see, there are some photographs here. Observations are typically where we see something happening to a plant, a planting, and we may take a photograph of it, or we may just make a note of something that we saw. And then inputs. These are when we may have, for instance, put compost onto a bed that these are in. And then the harvests themselves, there is a separate area for harvest, as you can see here. And bear in mind, this is just one listing in Permaledger. This is the tomato. And then any sales that happen. And typically the sales were not sales, they were donations. We grow for Reality Kitchen, and that was some tomatoes that we took down to them. So that really is all I want to do in this video. I'm just showing you what can be done with a particular crop, a particular plant in Permaledger, and all the details we can capture about it. There's a lot more to Permaledger than that, but that's. I did want to go back one more thing. I'll just do this, and I'm just skirt over this today. This is areas, and this is all the people that have had plants from us or grown for us in and around, largely speaking, in and around the Eugene area. Some of them are a little bit further afield. But the big difference between Farm OS and Permaledger is in Farm OS, it's a default behaviour is to have one copy of Farm OS per location. But what we've done here, as you can see, is we've created multiple locations within Farm OS, and that's what makes this Permaledger. I'll show you one more aspect, and like I say, I don't want to be on this very long today. So this is where I'm recording from at the moment, and you can see that everything's key. Everything has its own map basically, and that's achieved by importing a KMZ or KMZ file. So that the house that's in the middle of this picture is where I am at the moment. Okay, so that's all I wanted to do for today. I don't want to make it too long, and hopefully you find something useful in this. And we definitely want to expand Permaledger and the incredible edible techniques as far as we can, because the way things are going with what we're facing at this point in time with COVID and climate change, the food system as we know it is not going to survive long term, where food's being trucked around all over the place, or railed around all over the place, or even worse, strawberries flown in, from somewhere. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching and listening.